Hi, this is Dr. Gregory Charlop, and I have some exciting news about vitamin D and how it may help protect you from the coronavirus. And this is all some pretty hot stuff that's coming out of a recent study out of China. And here's what they found. They found that people who had low vitamin D levels, and they define that as less than 30 nanomoles per milliliter, people with low vitamin D levels were much more likely to have complications from the coronavirus. And this was very significant. So people with low vitamin D levels had higher rates of death and they higher rates of inflammation and many indications of inflammation. And so it's believed that vitamin D may be somewhat protective from the coronavirus. Or at the very least, we think that when your vitamin D levels are low, it puts you at risk. It turns out that many people are low for vitamin D, and that's because a lot of us are afraid to go out in the sun. The sun is one of the easiest ways to get vitamin D, and we're reluctant to do it, either because we're worried about sunburns or wrinkles or something else. So we often spend a lot of time indoors, and when we're spending all this time indoors, we are not getting the sun we need to make the vitamin D, and we're vitamin D deficient. The other thing is that as the winter approaches, it's likely that our vitamin D deficiencies will get worse because the sun is less intense. Maybe it'll be too cold and we don't want to go outside. And as a result, the vitamin D problem will get worse. And if this is true, and these results are still early, so we don't know this for sure, but if this is true, then we may be putting ourselves at greater risk for COVID as we get less sun and as our vitamin D levels drop. So therefore, I recommend everybody take a vitamin D supplement. This is one, I got this from Target. I take it. I take it every day. This one's got 50 micrograms in it. It's a good dose. I just take one a day. It's cheap. Vitamin D for most people has virtually no side effects. It seems very safe. It's something that you probably should be taking. Now, I will say that the study showed that if you are low in vitamin D, you may be at greater risk. There's no reason to think if you have astronomically high vitamin D levels, you'll be better off. So I'm not advocating, and there's no evidence to advocate that you should shoot for super ridiculously high vitamin D levels. Rather, just shoot for normal levels. Just take something like this, a 50 microgram tablet a day, and you will be fine. Even Dr. Fauci has recommended vitamin D, and it's just so benign, it's so cheap, and it's something to do. So either catch more rays if you could do it without getting sunburn, or take some vitamin D supplements, and you may reduce your risk of coronavirus complications. This is Dr. Gregory Charlop. I'm also the author of Why Doctors Skip Breakfast. Why Doctors Skip Breakfast. You can grab the book over there. The link is in the post there. You can learn more wellness tips. Or if you're a California or Texas resident, I'd be happy to chat with you and maybe we could set up some wellness consultations. Thanks so much for listening.